never walk away. If I rest in something, I'm never going to walk away from what I'm doing, because if you walk away, that barbell just beat me. I'm never going to let a barbell weight beat me.
The crowd on its feet as they watch Josh Bridges. He's got to hurry as Bridges now has 10 seconds. Can he make it? 5 seconds before the time to be hit. Bridges wins the touch. He needs to hurry. Josh Bridges is your new leader. Hi everybody, welcome to today's edition of the CrossFit Games Update Show. I'm Sean Woodland with Pat Sherwood. The Open is now closed, and I know we finish it off with a workout that has a very special place in your heart.
I really liked 14.5. It was so devious, right? Classic CrossFit thruster with a burpee, and you couldn't just be fit and do well at this workout. You had to be really willing to suffer, and that just warms my heart.
Well, you loved it, and a guy who resides in the Southern California region loved it, and that's Josh Bridges, the only guy to clock a time below 8 minutes. We had 18 men underneath 9 minutes, but Bridges getting his first victory of the Open. Matthew Frazier, more on him in a second. He finishes in second place, and Rich Froning in that performance we watched live in San Francisco, California, racks up a third place finish. But back to Josh Bridges. You talked about this a couple of weeks ago with him, and he said home run potential. And this was clearly a grooved pitch right to him.
This is exactly what we were talking about. If you give him the things that he's good at, you're not going to touch him, and he showed it on a 14.5. Going into this workout, he said he wasn't sure if he would have the best time in the world, but he knew he'd do well. Now, bear in mind, Josh has won the final Open workout in 2011, 13, and 14. He said once he started doing this workout, he actually felt like he was moving slowly, even though he got 7:49, and now that turned into a blessing because since he thought he was moving slowly, he's like, well, I can't slow down anymore or people will pass me, so he kept that pace, and it was good enough to be best in the world.
Well, speaking of best in the world, the overall leaderboard, very familiar names at the top of it. Rich Froning, the overall leader, he wins the Open again, 18 total points for him. He was just 2 points off of the best Open finish by an individual ever. That belongs to Sam Briggs. She had 16 points last year, and then right behind Froning, it's the podium.
It is the podium. I mean, and this overall leaderboard speaks volumes to me. I mean, Coach Greg Glassman said, I expect to look at this Open leaderboard here and have it be a strong indicator of what's going to happen down the road, and I think he's exactly accurate. Not only at the games, but these people are going to win their regions as well.
Yeah, a guy who was up there in 7th place was Matt Frazier. He competed in the Northeast region. He's there again this year. Finished 5th in 2013. Just missed a trip to the games by 4 points. This year, he says he's worked on his weaknesses, and he's ready for another crack at the games in Carson.
Last year at regionals, it was a good eye-opener for me. I had been crossfitting for 6 months at the time and pulled a 5th place, so I was good at the short workouts. Since then, I've been working on the longer workouts, been working my weaknesses, and I think what I'm doing is working, but regionals definitely going to be kind of under the pressure. That's when it counts. I'm excited for whatever they throw at me at regionals.
Matt Frazier is a guy who has the strength numbers, but now he's a much more complete athlete. Is he a contender here?
He is 100% a contender. I mean, he's ahead of Austin Malleolo in the Northeast region. That in and of itself is saying something. Last year, if he kind of threw you off a bit, he was actually gassed on that 7-minute overhead squat complex. He's like, everyone else was probably limited by their strength. He's like, for me, that was a wind event. So now he's kept his Olympic lifting numbers. We're talking a 340 to 350 clean and jerk, a 300-pound snatch. And with that strength, he's added lung. So he is a genuine threat.
From the Northeast to the Southwest, where the world's fittest team has resided for the past 2 years, that's Hackspack out of Ute CrossFit. They won it in 2012, won it again in 2013, and at the regionals in 2013, they won all 7 events, and they set 5 event records in the process. Yesterday on Twitter, Tommy Hackenbrook, the only man to stand on the podium as both an individual and a team member, said that he, Mandy Janowitz, and Brendan Fjord are all going as individuals to regionals. I mean, this is a bomb down there.
This is a huge deal in Southwest, which was already an exciting region, but we've got Matt Hathcock scrambling for a spot. We've got Chris Spieler back there, and we thought that these guys weren't going to be in that mix, and now the Hackspack is in there, man, with Hackenbrook and Fjord and Conway battling. I mean, they could sweep their region. I spoke with Hackenbrook earlier, and he said, here's the deal. He actually knew from before the Open that he wanted to go individual this year, but it just would be 100% sure he waited a bit. However, as a coach, for Brennan Fjord and Mandy Janowitz, he knew that they're just so talented that that was the right thing for him to do this year, to have them go individual. And it's just, he felt that another year on the team wouldn't be what those guys needed. They needed the biggest challenge possible, and for him, that was individual competition.
And let's keep in mind that if CrossFit happens to send a team to the games, I mean, a lot has to happen between now and then, but if that happens and those 3 don't qualify, they can hop right back on the team roster, and all of a sudden we're talking 3-peat.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, the Open is now in the books. We had 5 exciting weeks, some really great workouts, wonderful events. What's your biggest takeaway for the men?
Our biggest takeaway for the men is, why do you think when we give the show here, you keep hearing the same names? Why do you keep hearing about Froning? Why are we still talking about Scott Panchik and Dan Bailey and Ben Smith and Jason Kalipa? Because these guys are so incredibly consistent year after year. As the pool in the Open grows, these guys aren't being knocked off the top. They're that good. So it speaks volumes to me about just the excellence these guys bring to the sport.
Well, that is it for us today. Tomorrow we're back to talk about the women. For Pat Sherwood, I'm Sean Woodland. We'll see you back here tomorrow.